Blessings, beloveds. Welcome back. I just want to take a little bit of time today sharing just a few more thoughts actually about Neptune frequencies. There's just so much that's pouring into my own psyche actually, which is compelling me to share because I've shared quite a bit about Neptune already and I have so much more to share. Shared quite a few posts on Instagram and Facebook today as well. And I'll speak about that now. But before I do, I just want to show you guys very quickly, again, the power of correct birth time. Okay, so we all know who the Queen of England is, Queen Elizabeth II. This is the birth chart that's been given in public sources, and the time of birth that has been given is 2:40 a.m., which gives her 21 degrees of Capricorn rising as her ascendant. So here is her rectified time, and what you can see is that the rectified time gives her a 27 degree of Capricorn ascendant. That does mean the time gets pushed forward. That is not necessarily an unusual thing to happen. Sorry, I just need to get some water. Okay, as I was saying, the rectified ascendant comes to 27 of Capricorn, and if you know your astrology, you know where Pluto is at the moment. Where is Pluto? It's at 37 of Capricorn. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious what that is, right? That's given the nature of events, at least, that have transpired in her life, which is that she contracted some version of COVID. She's quite unwell at the moment. It was light in the beginning. It's been about a week now. And it was just yesterday announced that it's just getting a little bit more serious with her. So Pluto's right on her ascendant, okay, whilst this is happening. Now, with the time that was given, Pluto's nowhere near the ascendant. So there you go. There's one for the power of rectification. I don't necessarily want to predict the outcome or create some sort of forecast for the outcome, but it wouldn't be surprising if her time was up, you know, with Pluto on the ascendant. Pluto on the ascendant can be the opposite to that, can be regenerating oneself, completely transforming. That's also possible. It can go either way, right? She does have a very powerful Mars-Jupiter conjunction in the first house. That's unlimited energy. And I mean, she's 95, let's face it. She's been going for a while. So, yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what occurs with that. Anyway, that's just a side note. Today's focus is actually on Mars, Venus, and Neptune. So it's going to be a fairly short podcast, because really all I want to highlight is the sequence of 22. So we have Neptune at 22 of Pisces, Mars at 22 of Capricorn, and Venus will be at the position of 22 of Capricorn tomorrow. So this chart you see on the screen right now is actually for today, the 24th of February, Southern Hemisphere. For you guys, it'll be the 23rd today, those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, I mean, which is largely my audience anyway. So this is a very quick transit. Let me just get rid of something in the background there. This is a very quick transit, but I've chosen to come and speak about it briefly because of the whole Neptune inspiration that I feel through Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces. And I've got heaps to say about the Jupiter, Neptune, Venus conjunction, but I'm going to come back and do that sometime soon. We've still got a little while till we get there anyway. It doesn't actually get there till about the 19th of April. So we're only at the 24th of Feb at the moment. But anyway, for the purposes of this particular presentation and for thinking about or feeling into this energy, over the next couple of days, because it's really, we could take it back a day, in terms of the lead up, a couple of days back, the lead up of Mars approaching 22 of Capricorn. So what it's doing actually is it's forming a sextile aspect to Neptune. That is, Mars and Neptune are in exact sextile aspect today, as in the 24th. And tomorrow Venus will get there as well, and she'll form an exact sextile to Neptune. So there is a really beautiful pattern manifesting with Neptune, Mars, Venus. Now, typically there's a few layers to this, and I could really talk about this for a couple of hours, to be quite honest, but I'm not going to do that. I just do want to share a couple of points. So the first thing is we need to remember what Neptune is about, and I'm going to just read a couple of things about that. The second thing is understanding Mars in Capricorn is its exalted position. Venus in Capricorn is part of the Venus morning star we just had, which occurred on the 8th of January last month. So this is Venus's energy is still very much lighting up through that Venus star point. So we have a Venus star point energy present here. She's picking up that exalted Mars, which is a very strong position for Mars. And then they are lining up with Neptune, forming this beautiful sextile aspect. A sextile aspect typically produces opportunities. It's potential and opportunity that can be fulfilled. So there's those levels, and then there's the matter of, when you look at the combination of Venus and Neptune, it's typically not an easy energy to work with. It's in fact, it's very, very tricky. From a position of spirituality, alignment, working with spirit, tuning in on those levels to get the best out of the combination of Mars, Neptune, it could speak to the spiritual warrior being Mars and spirit being Neptune, of course. And then it can also speak to feeling inspired through spirit and being able to bring that through, that inspiration, in a workable, realistic manner, over the next couple of days, for instance, really feeling a sense of inspiration and actually doing something with that, right? Mars in Capricorn, you are doing something with that energy. It's a very earthy, practical energy where our will forces, desires, passions, energy, confidence, and so forth can be harnessed or integrated and create something on a practical sort of level. It can be any and all of those things, of course. On the other hand, Mars Neptune can be very tricky with being deceived or being a deceiver in terms of specific actions that either you take or somebody else takes towards you. There can be that in the mix as well. Mars, Neptune are the planets that correspond to ray number 6 in esoteric astrology. That's quite complex. I'm not going to really expand on that too much, but it is an energy that promotes at the everyday mundane personality level fanaticism, just being really fanatical and blinded by a particular belief you have, let's say, for instance. So there's a lot of different ways to unpack this, but I just want to stick to a level that can inspire just in a matter of a couple of days, right? And this would be, at the same time, this would be perhaps a lead up of things, you know, that have been transpiring for you, right? That have been going on for you. And this energy can just be a really beautiful portal that opens something up where the inspiration that comes through, you can actually really do something with it. And that's a very powerful knowing and insight, and a powerful what can I call it? A powerful perception, understanding, you know, to be aware of at this time, that is over the next couple of days, because the key that sort of holds this together from the point of view of being able to do something with this that works is the fact that we have a sextile aspect between Neptune and Venus and Mars. And as I said before, the sextile aspect typically produces an opportunity. It just flows in, it comes without effort. And I guess the matter is about being receptive to that, being open, being aware, and noticing, you know, what that opportunity might be, because it's going to look very different for every single individual. For some people, it might be something that, you know, is quite significant in the scheme of what's sort of unfolding in the person's life. And for some others, it might just be a simple, just some thoughts and reflections and a state of being, a state of feeling, you know, over the next couple of days, which could then further lead to very specific action, because Mars is still in Capricorn for a little while longer. And Mars in Capricorn does help us establish and create, you know, a sense of productivity in our life with what we are trying to put some structure into. And Mars gives us the juice, the power, the fuel, the confidence to harness things in a very practical and realistic manner. So, you know, Neptune in Pisces, and then these planets, Venus, Mars in Capricorn, it's a really interesting energy, the Capricorn Pisces frequencies, because they couldn't be more opposite to each other, but yet they are so complementary. And that's indeed why they're actually sextile each other, right? Because the reason Neptune is sextile Mars and Venus is because of the signs that these planets are located in. That's what creates the sextile aspect. And so it's showing us that the nature of Pisces and Capricorn forming a sextile to each other, they're complementary. They have something graceful to really offer each other. And the fact that they are so different from an archetypal level, meaning Capricorn really corresponds to this earthly reality, just to put it very simply, and Neptune corresponds to everything outside of this reality. And yet we have these energies in a harmonious exchange together. And that what I've seen actually with that through the years, which is a really interesting observation, I've seen a lot of couples that represent those energies. So one will be the Capricorn and the other one will be, you know, a Pisces. And someone might think, gee, you know, that they must be such an odd couple because they're just such different archetypes, right? And yes, they probably would be very odd in the eyes of how people would perceive them, you know, from the external level. But in a very simple manner, what it kind of shows, this Capricorn Neptune exchange, rather Pisces exchange, is that the Pisces energy helps the Capricorn loosen up and let go and surrender and have a bit of faith and take a step into the mystical, the magical, the things that can't be defined, if you like, by scientific left brain measurement, right? And so the Pisces inspires the Capricorn to go into those more mystical, deeper experiences of life. And then Capricorn benefiting Pisces can actually bring in the level that Pisces is not really about, and it's not really used to being, practical and realistic. It lives in the world of the imagination at large. So the Capricorn energy comes in a very graceful manner because they're sextile. That's what the sextile is. It's an opportunity. It's a graceful exchange of flow of energy. And the Capricorn comes in and says, okay, well, your imagination is stunning. It's magical. It's powerful. It's exquisite, etc. But I'm going to help you ground some of that and actually do something with that inspiration or that imagination, as opposed to just letting it not be anchored anywhere, as it were. Not that not having it anchored is a problem or is wrong, it's not at all, right? But I'm just simply trying to explain how these energies can complement each other. And also the Capricorn brings in a strong dose of reality to the Piscean and helps the Piscean just become a little bit more grounded and a little bit more clear and realistic about life, their life in general, etc. These are just very general sort of terms, right? But this is the grace of the exchange of these energies, and together they can create something really profound and beautiful through the mystical into the practical. So the combination of the two is extremely powerful because we live from a physical perspective. We live in a 3D reality, right? Physically, at least. Certainly with our soul and spirit and spiritual body and psychic body and emotional body and light body and so forth, we exist and live in other dimensions. We are only confined and bound to the physical by our physical body, but not by our imagination or spiritual essence, right? So having the two, dancing together in this beautiful exchange can have a very powerful and effective outcome, depending on what we choose to do with this energy. Remember, it's only in play for a couple of days, so it's not necessarily life-changing, but it can be for some people because it depends what else is being activated in people's charts. Particularly, the Venus star point, which was at 18 degrees of Capricorn, which is absolutely 100% activated at the moment still, all right? Because the orb and energy for the Venus star points can be 3 months pre the date and 3 months post the actual date of the alignment, the Sun-Venus conjunction, which is what the Venus star point is. So that Venus star point, which is still active at the moment, like I said, is highlighting, amplifying, giving its light and beauty and love to that Mars. And it's also being received by Neptune in this sextile aspect. And also just remember that, Venus is the goddess of love. Yes, she's many different things other than that, but ultimately she's the cosmic frequency of love. And Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. And so Neptune corresponds to the ultimate source of love. And so here you have these two having this incredible exchange together. So there's so much beauty that comes through these energies that is so inspiring, poetically, artistically, and so forth. This is a really powerful portal to step into, if you are a creative person, and even if you're not, just to feel a sense of inspiration and hope and faith and things like that. But the Mars is going to want to do something with it. Mars just is not, it's not an energy or an archetype or a planet that does nothing. And in Capricorn, it's very matter of fact. It's very, let's deal with what's going on. Let's work at this. Let's find how how this can work better, you know, and things like that. It's actually even more ambitious than that, because Capricorn is a very ambitious sign, and you know, Mars in Capricorn, as I said, is exalted. With Neptune, though, just some other things to remember. I've given quite a little bit of I've spoken about Neptune in my previous video to this one, when I spoke about the Sun in Pisces, and I really focused a lot on the more spiritual side to Neptune. But I guess some other things to consider about Neptune as well. First of all, it is one of the most difficult energies to understand. It really is, because it's just so not of this world. So I'm just going to read some comments from Rob Hand. So basically it says Neptune is probably, you know, one of the most difficult energies. I completely agree with him. Its nature eludes definition because it is associated with aspects of the universe that are unclear, illusory, delusory, ill-defined, and even imaginary. Those words that he's used there are all very good words to be associated to Neptune. He says, but Neptune can be understood in part by defining what it is not. He says, even more than Uranus, it is an energy that negates everything that Saturn stands for. If Saturn is reality, Neptune is unreality. If Saturn is an aspect of the ego, Neptune is denial of the ego. And I've spoken about this. I've done a video where I speak about the concept of ego, and in terms of the zodiac, when the sun goes through Virgo, Scorpio, and Pisces, which are the three most complex signs in the wheel, in my opinion, there is a very distinct process that happens with what we call the ego, which is the personality. And it's basically, let me just try and remember, I've just forgotten one of those points there. So when the sun's in Scorpio, it's ego death. When it's in Pisces, it's ego denial, which is what Rob Hand was just saying here. You know, Neptune is denial of ego. So when you get to the 12th house or sun in Pisces or Neptune, it's the denial of the ego. That's what it is. And in Scorpio, it's the death of the ego. And in Virgo, I've just forgotten. It's just escaped my mind. Anyway, look, that's not necessarily that important at the moment because we are really focused on Neptune. But you can check out that video. I might try and find it and put the link in the description below, because I've got a lot of videos there and you might struggle to find it. So I'll put it there for those that are interested. It's really worth watching, because you will understand something really powerful about the journey of the sun, you know, as being expressed from the point of view of ego and personality, and what happens in that journey through the entire wheel, as in the wheel of the zodiac. Okay, so just to read further, if Saturn is our notion of time and space, Neptune is outside time and space, in either a non-dimensional or infinitely dimensional universe. Neptune symbolizes the truth and divinity perceived by mystics. Keep in mind that the planet is an agent or a representation of energy, not the source of the energy. At the highest level, Neptune represents nirvana, where all individuality is merged into infinite oneness of being and consciousness. That's mainly what I wanted to read from Robbie. He does go into heaps more in this chapter about Neptune, but I'll bring a lot of that through when I do a video on Neptune, Venus, Jupiter conjunction. But for today, I just wanted to, you know, point these beautiful transits out, because they are active at the moment and over the next couple of days. And you could really meditate on this and tune into this energy. You could be having a Mars return if you've got Mars in Capricorn at this degree. Ironically, I'm having a Mars return at the moment, so these energies are really speaking to me in so many ways. Furthermore, I forgot to also mention that Vesta is at 22 degrees here as well. So she's also forming a sextile to Neptune. So she's part of this whole pattern here. We have Venus, Mars, Vesta, Neptune, all, sort of coming into this graceful sextile aspect. Beautiful exchange. And Vesta, don't forget, is the goddess of devotion and dedication. So this is a really powerful portal of creative energy that you can really feel very personally, because Mars and Venus are very personal planets. Neptune is a transpersonal planet, but Neptune is gracing us this portal at the moment so that we can actually, in a non-resistant manner, in an effortless manner, receive what Neptune is offering through Pisces, through this particular aspect. And of course, as I said, Vesta, the goddess of focus and dedication, and also what we invest in, choosing to invest in whatever comes through from that inspired level, Neptune, bringing that through Mars, acting on it through the inspiration of Neptune and through the cosmic heart love of both Venus and Neptune, actually, and devoting, that could be devoting your time, your energy, coming up with some very specific goals of things that you really want to invest your time and energy into at the moment. That could be a creative project. It could be a personal journey in shamanism, spirituality, integration. There's so many different things that you can really focus this energy into. But the point is that it's an opportunity, it's a portal of opportunity that's open. It's potential, it's grace, it's ease, and it's offering something to you. And all you need to do is basically focus your attention on it. Another word for Vesta is actually focus. So that's all I wanted to share. I hope that's useful, and I'll see you guys very soon. Much love, many blessings, and hoping you are all doing well. Bye for now.